Hi, everyone, and welcome to the premiere. I want to thank you for dropping by, and I truly appreciate you being here with me. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. For me, this isn't just another missing person story. It's personal, and as the mother of an autistic child, I see this as not just a spiritual call, but also a wake up call for us to define what it really means to be a parent in the first place. It also helps us to see how the role evolves even more when you have a special needs child. When I look back at the very first interview with Sebastian's mom, Katie, the sound she made, that guttural cry in the very beginning, it struck me. To me, it wasn't just grief. It was the sound of a mother who already knew her child was gone, not just missing, but gone, with no plans to ever return. I've asked myself, if they had truly planned to just send Sebastian away, how realistic was that in the end? Sebastian is autistic. He isn't the kind of child that you can just hand off to strangers and expect him to fit into their expectations. Autistic children don't perform for others. They don't suddenly become the child everyone else wants. Their autism is part of their beauty, but it's also part of why I don't believe this was ever about giving him away in the first place, not for Katie or for Chris. I think Katie may have tried to convince herself in the beginning, telling herself, maybe someone will take him. Maybe he will have a better life somewhere else. She soothed herself with that idea because she didn't want to face what was really happening. In her mind, disappearing him could be justified as a kind of mercy, twisted as that is. But I believe Chris knew the truth all along. I don't think he ever intended to give Sebastian to anyone. He hated him. Sebastian exposed everything Chris wasn't: his strength, his honesty, and his light. Sebastian made visible the abuse, the fear, and the failures in that household. And Chris could absolutely not tolerate it. So while Katie told herself the story that maybe he'll just go live with someone else, I think deep down she knew the other possibility, and Chris was already there. To him, Sebastian's existence was a threat. To Katie, disappearing him was a way to avoid exposure. In the end, their fear of being held accountable was stronger than their duty to protect their own child. And that's the tragedy here. Sebastian was not a problem to be solved. He was a child to be loved. But instead of learning him, they silenced him. Instead of seeing his autism as a unique way of shining, they saw it as a reason that he wouldn't have a life. And in that lie, they told themselves they justified the unjustifiable. But before we dive in further, if you believe Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' story deserves to be heard and that justice shouldn't depend on whether or not there is a body, then please hit the subscribe, turn on all the notifications, and please drop a green heart in the chat for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Let's fill this space with love for him right from the start and make sure voices like Sebastian's are never forgotten. So in this video, we are looking at parenting in general versus parenting individuals with special needs. Anyone who is a parent knows that it is already one of the hardest jobs on earth. But when you are raising a child with special needs, it multiplies the challenge by 1,000. It requires patience when you're already tired, compassion when the world doesn't understand, and strength when you feel you have none left. I know this firsthand. Right now, I'm going through guardianship for my fully incapacitated autistic son, Andrew. He's only a year older than Sebastian. And every day, I am reminded that what some people see as flaws in these children are really our lessons. They are mirrors, showing us where we still need to grow. And for those of you who are parents, especially those of kids with special needs, drop a star in the chat. What's one lesson your child has taught you about patience or love? Now I want to look at the logical truth about parental responsibilities. I also want us to take the emotion out of it for a second. Parenting is not optional. You don't get to tap out because it's hard, and you don't get to walk away when things don't look the way you thought they would. Your job is to show up for your child every single day, whether it's hard or not. And when you choose not to, that's neglect, that's cruelty, and that's betrayal. And that's exactly what Katie and Chris did to Sebastian. If you agree with me on this, please let me know in chat. Parenting is about showing up no matter what. And if you can't do that, then you are failing not only them, but yourself too. So why do some people feel parenting is temporary? Here's the truth about parenting. You can't just abandon your role when it stops being convenient. Parenting is not something you can clock in and out of like a job. It doesn't end when your child turns a certain age or when you feel like you've done enough. Parenting is lifelong. It's financial support, it's emotional support, it's mental support, it's being a steady foundation your child can return to no matter what. That doesn't expire just because they grow up. Our children, whether they are young or they are adults with special needs, they never stop needing our love, stability, and guidance. Do you feel that parenting a child is forever? Let me know in chat if you also believe parenting is forever, not just until they are 18 and adults. Sebastian's story shows us that. It shows us just how dangerous it is when parents check out. When a parent decides it's too hard, too inconvenient, or no longer their responsibility. That is when the child suffers the most. And that's when trauma is created that lasts for a lifetime. In Sebastian's case, his parents didn't just take a step back. They abandoned the sacred role altogether. And we see the tragic results of that choice. It's proof that when parents walk away physically, emotionally, or mentally, the cost is devastating. Let me know in chat. Do you agree when parents walk away, it doesn't just hurt the child in the moment, but it can leave lifelong scars? So, what is the spiritual lesson in the mirror of parenting? Now, I want to go into how our children are our mirrors. The things they struggle with are not their flaws, they are our lessons. They show us where we lack patience, where we need compassion, and where we need to stretch. Sebastian was Katie's lesson, and she failed it. She failed him, and she failed herself. Chris also failed his lesson because his authority was meant to love and protect, and he abused that role beyond human comprehension. When you break that sacred bond between a parent and child, you are not just breaking an earthly law, you are breaking a spiritual one, and the universe and spirit will never forget. So I would like to hear from you. Have you ever realized your own child or someone close to you who was reflecting one of your own flaws back to you? Drop a mirror emoji in the chat down below if you have. So, what is the bigger picture here? I think the bigger picture here is Sebastian's story isn't just about one family. It's a mirror for all of us. How do we show up when things are difficult? Do we protect the vulnerable or do we look away? As a community, we are stepping into the role his mother and stepfather failed to fill. We are speaking for him, honoring him, and demanding justice for him. He may not be able to speak for himself right now, but we can. We are going to keep saying his name until we get answers and the accountability is held against those individuals responsible for the disappearance of Sebastian. If you see something, then say something. Never stop saying his name. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Put a red flag emoji in the chat if you believe Sebastian's story needs to be told until justice is served. As we get to the end of this discussion, I want to compare earthly justice to spiritual justice. Yes, we want earthly justice in Sebastian's case, no doubt. We want arrest, we want accountability, and we want truth out in the open. But beyond that, there's a higher law, a karmic law. You cannot betray your child and escape that debt. It doesn't matter what excuse you make, spirit remembers. Spirit restores balance, and the justice will always come. If you believe in both earthly and spiritual justice, drop a scale emoji in the chat. So now we're going to bring this back to Sebastian. I wanted to bring the focus back to Sebastian and not the people responsible for his disappearance. His life matters. His lessons matter. He is not a burden, not a problem, and not a flaw. He is love, he is light, and he deserves so much better than what he got from his mother, Katie, and his stepdad, Chris. Even though Katie and Chris failed him, we will not. We will honor him, we will keep speaking his truth, and we will keep demanding justice. Sebastian deserves to be remembered, not forgotten. He deserves justice, not silence. So let's close this out by flooding the chat with green hearts for Sebastian. Thank you all for being here tonight and for holding space for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Keep sharing his story, keep speaking his name, and keep demanding justice for him. That's how we make sure his life continues no matter what in this world. And keep praying every day, not only for him, but for his father, Seth Rogers, too. He misses and loves his son very much. Please try to put yourself in his shoes and think of what you might need or want if this were happening to you. Thanks again for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And next time, we will be discussing the cycles of karma and how they present themselves in Sebastian's case. Also, how they show up in your own children and how they are reflected back to you. Good night, y'all. Bye.